First, let me start with, because we've been discussing the speaker's comment on the special prosecutor's office and how he felt at the time about the law was being passed. You were there when this law was passed. You've committed to yourself to exposing a lot of what you see as corrupt activities. And I'm wondering how you felt when you heard the speaker talk about what he felt to be the futility of the office based on the law, the way the law was structured. How did he feel to you?
Good morning to all distinguished listeners of Radio Gold. I honestly am on all fours with the Right Honorable Speaker. I totally agree with him. I've always held that view. I mean, my honest position is that you don't need a duplication of the Attorney General's office if you really want to fight corruption. The whole rationale for creating the office of the Special Prosecutor was that they wanted to have an independent person and body or institution to fight corruption, and that they didn't want a minister of justice and an attorney general who is sitting in cabinet with colleague ministers, and so will find it difficult in dealing with them if they are errant or if they engage in corrupt practices. And they didn't want somebody who will also be the principal advisor to the president and who would be taking instructions from the president and who is, politically tainted. But really, if you look at, how the law eventually was fashioned out, this is the president who is still making the appointment, and the OSP does not really have that independence. The only difference is that he's not a minister. But if you look at the fact that he still will need the blessings of the Attorney General to proceed, it's really a superfluous creation. And I have always said that the fight against corruption, it all boils down to leadership. It's about the commander-in-chief. Is the commander-in-chief committed? Is the commander-in-chief going to stay away and allow an attorney general to work? So if you have a truly no-nonsense president who has a no-nonsense attitude towards corruption, who would not interfere whatsoever. We saw Martin Amido's revelations, how the president interfered when he was doing his corruption risk assessment in the Ijapa deal, the infamous Ijapa deal, and how he had to describe the president as the mother serpent of corruption because he did everything to frustrate the former special prosecutor and to shield his appointees, who were largely his family members. So when you have a president who that is his mindset, that is his approach, and the whole fight against corruption is about how do I target my political opponents? I see no evil, hear no evil, feel no evil when corruption is happening under my watch, during my regime, during my tenure. I only see corruption or perceived corruption of the past, and it becomes a witch hunt. I am not against going after political opponents who have questions to answer or looking as far back as you want to. You can decide to go even as far back as independence or the pre-colonial era to fight corruption, to see what you can salvage or retrieve for Ghana, for all of us. I welcome any such, endeavor. But that must not go on without looking at corruption taking place now, current corruption. Actually, when you fight current corruption, that is what even gives you the credibility. And when you go after opponents, when you go far back into time, people will trust that you are not being, mischievous, you are not engaged in malicious prosecution, you are not on a witch hunt. So I will say that, look, we have come full cycle. this OSP experiment hasn't worked. It's all about leadership. And I recall that under President Mahama, see how President Mahama made sure that he didn't interfere, even when his appointees came up for questioning. He himself had to fire some, you recall. I just don't want to mention names, but everybody knows, how the former President Mahama dealt with these matters. He was very upfront about it. So far, probably apart from the President Akufo era, even that you will argue that Malam Isa was not from the president's stock in terms of the political tradition. Malam Isa had come in from the PNC. He was not an MPP member. He was only appointed by President Akufo. Since that time, it's only under President Mahama that we have seen people right from the likes of the Honorable Abuga Pele. I don't want to remind him and his constituents of all what he went through. Then the national service prosecutions that took place. I mean, these were all appointees of President Mahama, and you could see that he was committed to making sure that a certain culture does not emerge where his appointees think that you can loot and get away with it. But since that time, I mean, look at all the cases of corruption. I mean, I have revealed so many instances of corruption. I mean, so many. I mean, many Ghanaians have even lost count. When did you ever hear the president take on his own people? I mean, look at the recent one when Akufo-Addo was exposed, and because of the public outreach, she had to resign. I mean, just reflect on that. She wasn't fired. The president gave her all the latitude, all the luxury of time to resign on her own terms. And look at the response the president issued. It was like, a reply to a love letter, and virtually, whitewashing her, telling her that, with time, you'll be vindicated, So you have a president who has gained notoriety as a clearing agent, a president who everybody knows that he will, engage in hook or crook tactics to protect his own. That is not how you fight corruption. So if you have this president, if you have this superstructure, no matter your creation, whether it's OSP, MFP, URM, whatever you call it, it won't work. So I would say, and I submit strongly, that let us elect a leader who truly is committed to fighting corruption, who will start from home, from within, who will not virtually endorse corruption and let the whole world know that, as for this time, even if you report us, even if you expose us, all I have to do is run to the boss for protection. The president will protect me and nothing will happen. So I'm not surprised that all the high hopes that this OSP office had has fizzled, and you've heard the OSP himself lament about how everywhere he turns, he's not getting any help. He feels like a loner. The last he addressed the country at that press conference, he cut a very sad and lonely image. I mean, many people wept for him. He himself was almost in tears. I'm sure he clearly regrets that he took on him, and he thought, and he himself has said that publicly, that he thought that there was some genuineness about the fight against corruption. I mean, you remember what the president, Akufo-Addo, said as candidate about the ANAS principle. I agree with Dr. Kobe Mensah, who says that the ANAS principle has now become the AMAS principle, where people are just amassing wealth, So, really, this OSP experiment hasn't worked. I think that it should be scrapped. And look, if the president is truly squeaky clean, no nonsense, is determined to fight corruption, he will make sure that, first of all, who he appoints as Attorney General, it wouldn't matter that you belong to the same party, or you will or sitting at cabinet. I mean, when you are invited to public office, it's not some, calling to come and join a cabal to raid a country, rape a country, to loot. So it's just about leadership, the getting the right president who will appoint the right attorney general. And I don't see what should stop any president from fighting corruption. I mean, look at the period of Professor Mills. Everybody knew that Professor Mills is no nonsense. Look at his own surprise visits. Look at how he even encouraged. I mean, he's the president who we all know even partnered, was not scared to partner with ANAS, another investigative journalist, to go after corrupt officials. See what the collaboration in the cocoa sector at the ports, to expose wrongdoing, malfeasance, and make sure all of that is punished. So look, it's all about leadership. It's all about who is president and what the president does. I don't want to recall the history of President Rawlings. You remember how his own people, even his cousin, many people forget that his cousin faced firing squad in the heady days of the PNDC. That is how you fight corruption, when even family members are not allowed. I mean, here we are. We all know what is going on. Those who are building restaurants, who have taken over shops at the airport. I mean, so if the president and his daughters and family members are having a field day, amassing all they can, I mean, who is going to check who? So please.
The Honorable, that also suggests that it is this history that you just cited, and the fact that even the person who made a promise may not be trusted to not interfere, that we've set up this office of the special prosecutor. And so far, the Attorney General has not prevented the office of the special prosecutor from using prosecutorial powers. He's been treated as an independent office, and that he shouldn't have any difficulty because there's not been that attempt to stop him from doing his job, that they should be able to do their job without complaining.
Those who say that, I will empathize with them, that they don't have the full facts. Look, we sit in Parliament. Do you know that the Office of Special Prosecutor, all of them there, they went more than a year without payment? They were not being paid.
No pay.
No pay.
For a whole year.
Yes.
The OSP and his and the people who work with him.
And yes, people who are supposed to fight corruption.
Really?
They had a banter with the Ministry of Finance. When it came to attention in Parliament, we were shocked. A whole year. And these are people you are sending to go and fight corruption. And you are deliberately making them susceptible. So, you see, when the leader, I come back to leadership, when the leadership is not committed, they will so on paper, on the surface, to the public, oh, he set up an independent body, he wants to fight corruption, but he knows what he's doing. When you staff the Office of Resources, you are not paying them salaries. You don't pay them. The staff that they ask for years, even as we speak, the staff is one of the most understaffed and under-resourced institutions. So, look, when there's no commitment, there's no commitment. I am telling you for a fact that the OSP, his deputy, the staff there, they went more than a year without salaries. So the people you say go and catch the thieves, go and fight corruption, they themselves are hungry. They are deliberately made hungry, made vulnerable, so that when they go, they can also think about how to survive. I mean, it's a big joke.
Well, having said that, I want to move on to one other issue which you have been interested in, because I'll come back to an issue of priority you've raised that has to do with payments made to GPGC. But before we get there, one other issue you raised yesterday very passionately has to do with, I didn't know that. I was hearing that for the first time, that you said a memo was issued in June where all hospitals are now supposed to pay their electricity bills?
Yes. I can confirm to you that on the blind side of Parliament, on the blind side of the Ghanaian people. This government, in an unprecedented move, decided that because we are in difficult times, which is their creation, I must emphasize, when they were looting and mismanaging the economy, chartering 20,000 euros an hour jets, building the biggest man-made hole in the world for 339 million cedis with our taxes. And some of us warned them. They didn't listen. Now the chickens have come home to roost, and they are going after everybody, including human lives. So in June this year, hospital administrators were summoned and told that the Ministry of Finance can no longer pay their light bills and that they have to pay themselves. The government did not even clear arrears that were in the system and told them that they are on their own. And by end of June, that same month, they started receiving bills that they must pay. And as I said in Parliament yesterday, I've investigated this matter thoroughly. At the Bator Catholic Hospital, they have since been paying 115,000. It started at 57,000. You know that utility tariffs have been going up. So now they are paying 115,000 Ghana cedis monthly. Sometimes the whole IGF that they get, their own internal generated funds, their creativity, and all, it doesn't even get to 100,000. And yet they must pay these bills, else they will be disconnected.
115,000 a month.
Yes, a month. Yes.
That's the bill of the Bator, the hospital.
The Bator Catholic Hospital, and we all know that that is the only, and it's a hospital that serves a wide catchment area, apart from North Tongu,
yes.
Because of their expertise in Ops and Gynae and in other fields. You know, people from Sugakopre, Adidoma, Shayo Sudoku, Ashaiman, Tema, all the way to even, a flower across the border, Togo, Benin. It's a celebrated hospital.
Yeah.
And because of their very low charges as well. I mean, a lot of women will tell you that it's the best place if you want to, take care of a lot of gynecological issues. So it is most shocking that for hospitals which have always been exempted, because you see, there are the essential services category. So you have educational institutions, you have ministries, you have the military, the barracks, you have the police, you have hospitals. That category have always been exempted. How is it? How did it happen that hospitals have now been shockingly, callously removed from this exemption list? And yesterday, our colleague in Tyne, the Tongu MP, lamented about how the Tyne District Hospital, built by former President Mahama at $37 million, which serves that entire catchment area from Tyne all the way, to Kintampo, all of those in that enclave. The ECG, can you believe that, had the effrontery, the heartlessness to disconnect their power because they say they owe. A few weeks ago, as I was doing my research, Navrongo Hospital was also disconnected for days. As I was doing my research, I also came by the fact that now some hospitals are just passing on the cost of electricity, and you can blame them, because if the IGF cannot be adequate, if their internally generated funds cannot help them, they just have to pass it on. So in Parliament yesterday, I read a receipt from Princess Marie Children's Hospital, where they just transferred the cost. And on the receipt, you see usage of electricity bill, 30 cedis. They just pass it on. And you can't blame the hospital. So it is clear to me that now we don't really have health insurance. A worse form of cash and carry is back. Because hospitals that have always been exempted are no longer exempted. I mean, the level of callousness. And you see, we are talking about where we all go to survive. I mean, the right to life is so sacrosanct. Imagine you are being operated upon and power is disconnected. I mean, just imagine, without notice. Imagine babies, preterm babies who are in incubators, and the power is just turned off like that. Imagine people on oxygen, and the power is just turned off. All these medicines, medications, drugs that are stored in refrigerators under very special conditions because they must be at a certain temperature. The lights are disconnected, electricity is taken away, and all those medicines get damaged. I mean, who came up with this policy in June this year? Who? And yet, whilst we say that there is no money to take care of hospitals, to preserve the right to life, ECG is donating motorbikes to the Ghana Police Service. Incredible. This government, once it says that it has no money, is paying a whopping 230.5 million Ghana cedis only a few days ago in a judgment debt that they have created. I mean, you just wonder what is going on. And we are not angry in this country. We are not angry enough. These people have just taken us for granted, and we are not angry enough.
And it seems raising this has gotten the man sitting in the seat of speaker at the time when you raised this to give some directives. We understand is that the health committee of parliament should work with the energy health ministry to try to resolve the issue. Well, what do you think will be a better resolution to this matter to ensure that hospitals do not now have to pass on electricity bills to people who go to the hospital, to patients?
The second deputy speaker in the chair, I have enormous respect for him. He did his best under the circumstances, and I think that it's a good start to direct the Committee of Health to look into the matter, because this was done on the blind side of everybody. And then to ask the ministers for health and energy to meet immediately and resolve this issue. But in as much as I acknowledge those steps, I think that immediately all of us must mount pressure for the president, for cabinet to reverse this decision. This callous killer decision, as I call it, it's a killer policy. Killer policy. And look, it can happen to anyone. You can be traveling, you have an accident, the nearest hospital, they rush you there, they say they have been disconnected. Or they start working on you, they start operating on you, and they disconnect. I mean, it can happen to any of us. I mean, it is the height of callousness, wickedness. Look, as I speak to you, the last time health insurance was paid is May this year. May. So you ask these hospitals that they should take care of patients on credit, that you pay them later. You cannot give them their health insurance. You cannot be up to date. Some are owed 5 months, 6 months, 7 months. And then you say that they should pay their own utilities. How? How should they do that? Look, and you see, sometimes even the lack of I mean, if you are not careful, they will say you are using insulting words. But you see, can't even common sense prevail so that this policy will have said that, okay, even if the bills have become so high, can we hive off certain places? Probably if it's a big hospital and there are bungalows, can we say that, okay, fix prepaid there? If there are some maybe provision stores, shops in the hospitals, you know, even though I don't see that at the Batokale Hospital and a lot of hospitals, but, you know, non-essential areas, you know, I don't mind even the OPD, fix a prepaid meter or something, you know, but leave out the theaters, leave out the labs, you know, the pediatric centers where babies will be inside incubators, leave those areas out. I mean, nobody, just blanket. Is it because they jet out of the country for medical attention, so they don't care what is happening in Ghana? I mean, you just can't believe what is going on. You just can't believe it.
Radio Gold.
So for you, immediately, that particular policy should be reversed.
It has to be reversed immediately. And I have to be honest with you, I'm disappointed that those in the sector have kept quiet all these months.
Yeah, I'm even surprised myself.
Yeah, because since June this year, and I'm surprised the Ghana Medical Association, I mean, all these hospital administrators, I mean, sometimes you wonder what this government has done to various groups, that I don't see an NDC government surviving this new policy for even 1 week, even 3 days. All hell will break loose. So I'm surprised that these hospitals are suffering in silence. Until I started interviewing them and they opened up to me and said, look, we are suffering. This is a killer, you know. But everybody is afraid to talk. They're afraid of victimization. They're afraid of being transferred. I mean, we can't run a country that way. Yes, whatever they do, they should do. Let's at least, even if we'll lose our jobs or we'll be transferred, after all, what? You have your profession. Nobody can take it away from you. Let's speak out and save the lives of everybody. Because it can be any of us. It can be even you, that administrator, doctor who has refused to speak out, who is quiet. You also fall sick. They can be attending to you and the light will be disconnected. So this is so dangerous. We are all at risk. That we must put political and partisan interests aside. This is not a partisan matter. It's about the right to life. It's nothing can be more precious than human life. So it's unbelievable that all the key stakeholders have been quiet all this while.
And since we are on that, then let me move into your constituency, because monitoring you on social media, seems you are making progress in your alternative housing project that you have started when your constituents suffered from that disaster that you in states is man-made. So far, because I was looking at the numbers, how much have you been able to do? How much do you need to do to be able to cover everybody? What's the move? Because I also see from when you were putting the GPGC document out, that you're saying that government is saying they are not in a position to provide any form of emergency housing to the people.
Yes, you are right. The government has not initiated any emergency housing so far in any of the affected communities. According to NADMO, some 40,000 people have been displaced. In North Tongu, which is the epicenter, 12,633 people were displaced. As I speak to you, according to NADMO data, 1,500 homes, houses, shelters, all gone, totally damaged. Now, what that means is that the people have had to put up in classrooms. So there are 21 camps in North Tongu, and these camps are just schools. So in North Tongu, children have been displaced twice, displaced from their homes and displaced from their schools, because their schools have been used as displaced camps. This requires urgent housing intervention because the people have nowhere to go, absolutely nowhere. And for my first Okudzeto Secondary School, there's a real threat that the school will collapse if we don't carry out an urgent intervention. Because continuing students, Form 2s, Form 3s, their peers across the country reported 7-8 weeks ago. Then you have first years who reported last week, Monday, the 4th of December, across the country. Even though there was public outcry that, look, why rush students to school for a few days and they have to come back for Christmas and all of that. The minister was adamant. He says he's the only wise person in the whole country. The unions are wrong, the PTAs are wrong, Parliament is wrong, the Speaker is wrong. He's the only one who understands education. So the PS, colleagues of all those at Mapesa and Kizito, are in school, and yet they cannot have access to their school. And some parents have started transferring, and you can't blame them. I mean, you want your children to be competitive. They're going to write the same WASI. So we had to, on our own, seeing that government is not forthcoming with any support in terms of housing, we decided to immediately launch our Safe Alternative Housing Initiative. And I must commend the First Sky Group. They were the first to listen to our plea. They came on board. So we offered the land, the private people build, and I furnish. The MP's office furnishes. So I'm providing beds, fans, and I'm also paying the utilities, paying the light bill and water bill of the people. And I say to the glory of God that we have been able in just 7 weeks to finish the first housing project. I think that this is a national record. I'm not aware of any affordable housing project or public housing project which has been finished in 7 weeks in the entire history of our country. So the first one, remember I cut the sword on the 19th of October. And last weekend, we moved the first 300 into this new affordable, and I shouldn't even say affordable. This is free housing. They don't have to pay rent. They don't have to pay utilities. All of that is sorted out because, let's be honest, these people have lost everything. My people don't have access to their farms, to their shops, to their livelihoods. Their money is swept away. The floods have taken their properties away. So it will be really insensitive on your part to expect that they can pay rent or they can pay for light bill or water bill. So I am glad that all of that is sorted out. So I can confirm to you that the first 300 have moved. Now, the beauty about this move is that we prioritize those who are the Mapesa and Kizito secondary schools. And so we have now been able to free that school. And we have asked that academic work can now resume. They should start announcing that the students can come back. Parents should stop transferring their students. I've also gone ahead to do what I must do in terms of supporting the secondary school. I have catered for fumigation. Today, the painters are starting. We have to repaint the whole school. And these are all things that I thought that government should be doing. I mean, but we feel so abandoned. It's like we are not part of Ghana. It's as if we don't pay taxes. But I'm not a leader who, knowing, having had the president come to tell us in the face that we don't vote for him, clearly I know that we are not his priority and nothing will come. Even if anything will come, maybe late in the day. And if we are not careful, there will be so much damage. People may die out of hunger. Schools may collapse. And the whole enclave, the whole constituency will become such, a destitute land. But we are determined that that will not happen. And I want to commend the Ghanaian people. The Ghanaian people have really come through for us. Look, Senna, only yesterday, Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice, invited my chiefs and I to come and receive. Will you believe that judges of this country, they were so moved by our plight that they have contributed 125,000 cedis. And their wish is very clear, that the money will be used for one borehole and the rest they want to support our Safe Alternative Housing Initiative.
Okay.
Very, very touching. I mean, the Chief Justice herself, and I just put up the pictures last night. Very beautiful ceremony yesterday. And they say that they can't wait for us to finish the second one. They will all come and then we can rejoice in the commissioning. So the second one has started. The second housing project has started in Mefa, around the Holy Christ area, and we are determined to beat our own record. You know, we did the first one in 7 weeks. We want to see if we can do this in some 5 or 6 weeks. We were really determined. We are working very hard. And we want to thank all those who are coming through for us. Reverend Isud Anaba sent us 50,000 cedis. His church elders were there to present it. We thank him very much. We have the chief imam, you remember, who has also sent in 70,000 Ghana cedis. So little by little, all of those who are coming through for us, Corporate Ghana. We have a few pledges. There's a company called Davido Roofing Sheets. They have offered that. They said they were so impressed with what we achieved with the first one. So they are going to give us free roofing sheets. And I want to thank Davido very, very much for that offer. So Ghanaians are coming through for us. I think that because we haven't sat back, folded our hands, or, raised our hands in despair and crying that the government has abandoned us, and we are doing our own, initiatives, I think that has really touched the heart of many, many Ghanaians, and they are coming through for us. You remember what engineers and planners Mr. Ibrahim Muhammad did for us, the dredging. He's also promised that his architects are designing some housing project that he will come back and help us with. So Ghanaians have really been phenomenal. I mean, Maum's Construction, for example, helped us with the roads that were cut off, and they quickly, reconstructed those roads for us. When I appealed to them, they didn't hesitate at all. Less than a week, they were there. So, I mean, I cannot thank Ghanaians enough. Ghanaians have been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, either as companies, as individuals, as families, as foundations. I mean, there are still, I have a tall list of people that I'm yet to acknowledge publicly, which we will, because we keep updating the list of those who have come through to support us. So we are working very hard. You can tell, Senna, that we are not resting on our arse. I mean, you can't rest when human beings are living like refugees in their own hometown, living in classrooms. I mean, some of the conditions, you will not even put your pet through those conditions. They are at the mercy of the vagaries of the weather. Mosquitoes are having a field day. I mean, those conditions are not good for even your worst enemy. So I can't sleep, I can't rest until we have built enough houses and moved our people in. And my approach is that, yes, I'll remind government of their obligation. I'll remind them that they are keeping our taxes. I'll remind them that in the contingency vote of 2023, Parliament approved 533 million cedis in there. They don't see our plight as contingency. And yet they saw building a cathedral as contingency and put in 339 million to create a hole, the biggest manhole in the world. Most expensive in the world. And here we are, when a real contingency has come, a real emergency, government says they don't have money. And yet, they have 230.5 million. And I mean, reflect over this figure, 230.5 million. This payment is more than what they say they will give us for the whole year, next year. In the 2024 budget, they put in 220 million for all the affected communities. What they have paid only a few days ago to GPGC is more than that allocation for the entire year. More than that allocation. And remember that this is just part payment. This 230.5 million is just part payment.
Yeah, that's only $20 million.
They are going to be paying 1.6 billion cedis. Billion. A judgment that they created. This could have been avoided. Look, even the cost of that plant, if the people were working, we'll have had to pay them $114 for 5 years. And they will have delivered power, will have created industries, jobs will have come up, and they will get money that they have worked for. Now, all they have to do, cross their legs, and we are paying them far more than they will have earned in their entire 5-year period. We are paying them $140 million in just a few weeks. And they are smiling all the way to the bank. And yet, we can't take care of our distressed people, our displaced people. The VRA-induced flood victims have been abandoned. And we are paying foreign companies judgment debt. Look, you see, sometimes I get emotional when I see the cruelty. I come to terms with the wickedness of fellow Ghanaians who have been voted for as leaders, and they treat us this way. It's heart-wrenching.
Well, you say your plan is to beat your own record of 7 weeks. What you're doing at Mefe, is it bigger than what you did at, because I understand this one, is it at Aveime?
Yes, this one is at Aveime, because when we started, when we cut the sword, remember, Mefe was underwater. There was really no land we could find. We went around in Mefe, there was no land. And the contractors didn't find anywhere conducive because Mefe was really underwater. And we couldn't wait. We were very proactive. So we found high ground in Aveime, and that's what we have used for this project. But now the water has receded, thanks to the dredging we did, thanks to engineers and planners, thanks to Mr. Ibrahim Mahama. So now have land in Mefe, which we are using for the second one, which has started already. And it's around the same size. It's around the same size. We've only added a few more facilities. So this is an enhanced package. This time we are adding a few kitchens. We are adding a few storerooms. We are adding a TV room as well. So that they can be a bit more comfortable. So we've done a review of the first one. We think that if we add a few of these facilities in the second one, it will make my people a bit more comfortable. So we'll continue to serve them in diligence and with integrity, with hard work, with vision. We'll go all out to make sure that they are not abandoned in their classrooms. I'm very, very determined. So let me use this platform to appeal to Ghanaians. We would really be grateful if people come through for us as they have always done. We need more support. A lot of the initial support has been food items and clothing. Now, if we can get some building materials, we really appreciate it. A lot of cement, iron rods, plumbing materials, electrical materials. We'll be very, very happy if you can come to our aid with because we want to build a lot of these houses. Remember, we are talking about over 12,000 people who have been displaced. So we need to have a lot more of these houses. And you have seen our capacity. You have seen how serious we are. We guarantee you, quick results. And we've set up structures. Nothing is coming to me personally. We have an accountability elders council. The chiefs are there. This is a very transparent and accountable system. Everything is going directly. I mean, I even tell donors, if you come and you want to even go and pour your cement at the site, see that it has gone directly into the project, we are happy. We're very, very happy. We'll even host you. We'll even get you a place you can, sit and eat and supervise. Make sure that your building materials are going into the project. So you can be rest assured, we are not engaged in any opacity, any diversion, any delay tactics. Lives are at stake. And so please don't hesitate to come to our aid. If you want to support the laborers too with their per day, they've been very kind. They've given us half of the market rate as their charges. And so if you also want to do a cash donation, we are happy to receive it, to go to the council or directly to the foreman in the field to pay the workers. So it's a very, very transparent, efficient system which is delivering, and we are quite confident that we can beat our own 7 weeks record. We are working hard at that, and the Ghanaian people are welcome to help us. Even if you're a plumber or you're a mason and you have a free time, you want to come and assist us, we'll receive you happily. Everybody is welcome.
For a lot of people, and some of the people who are listening to us, outside this country, they will be unable to come down to give these things to you. There are some people who are even listening in Ghana who would find making a donation through a Momo platform much more convenient and easier. What do they do in this case? Which number should they be reaching out for if they want to help in one way or the other?
Thank you very much for this question. You are right. Many people have been asking for the Momo number, and let me give it out. It's 050 500 6633. So 050 500 6633. So 050 500 6633.
Okay, that's a Vodafone number.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and if you want the MTN number, let me also give that out. That is 0244 33 6710. So
Okay.
0244 33 6710.
Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
People will usually want to find. Okay.
You can also specify what you want it to be used for.
Okay.
You can specify if it's to buy cement, if it's for iron rods, if it's for the laborers. Just specify, because we are going to be acknowledging everybody, unless those who say because of their jobs or what they do, they don't want to be acknowledged. You can let us know, but at least we'll keep the records because this is very important for transparency's sake. Because we have said that at the end of all of this exercise, we will invite private auditors to audit everything that has gone on. We are big on transparency and accountability. We don't want any scandal out of this disaster. I think it will be totally unconscionable. So this is a humanitarian crisis, and we are making sure that nobody takes advantage of this process.
Just one more thing. First of all, let me confirm this number: 050 500 6633 is the first one.
Correct.
Then 0244 33 67 10.
Yes.
The question that a lot of people will ask is, if I try sending money to these numbers, what name should I see that will encourage me to go ahead to complete the process?
Yes, so these are members of the housing committee. So the first one you see Blaze Asanga.
Okay.
Blaze. And then the second one you see Irene Mensah.
Okay.
That's the 0244. That belongs to Irene Mensah.
Okay.
So they are all members of the housing committee, and they will duly acknowledge. And everybody who sends in money, I call them personally to thank them. So if you don't receive a call from me, then it means that it's gone to the wrong place.
Okay.
It's gone to the wrong place, because I know there are some unscrupulous people who have tried to take advantage, created their own Momo account.
Okay.
But we'll get them, because I filed a complaint with the police, and we are going to get them. We'll fish them out. We don't want anybody to derail our efforts and to take advantage of the plight of the people.
But do not forget that we have a date to go and visit Grandma Vic. I'm sure he's listening to us.
Yes. We'll do that next week. Yeah. I'm really eager to see her. I mean, I'll need her blessings. So I'll go with you. And it's so touching. I mean, people giving us their all. I mean, there's a former ambassador who called me a few days ago that, her really, really top designer clothes that she couldn't even get to use as an ambassador. She wants to donate it to, some woman. And so she just sent her the list and their contact, and she'll ship them over to them. And then you have been helping people on the quiet. My assembly member in Bolo, in Makwa called Bolo, told me that you sent him clothing. Very nice. He was wearing one the day he told me.
Well, that is not from. Nice. That's actually from our listeners.
Yes, a very nice polo shirt.
Yes.
So you are doing a lot of good things behind the scenes. You are not telling me, but once I get to know, I'll expose you. I'll let the people, the people who are helping you know that we have received the items, and we are praying for all of them. Ghanaians have been so kind, and God bless all of you. I mean, Radio Gold and the quality of the items. I mean, you won't believe that Bolo is wearing the polo shirt to church, and he doesn't want to even change it. He's so excited about it, you know. And it's nice. It's very, very nice. And we feel really loved, and may the good Lord bless all Ghanaians. We are really touched. We appreciate all the support.
On behalf of my listeners, we'll do what we can to help. Thank you for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you. But when you bring the good things, just let me know. Let me know. I shouldn't be meeting the people and they say, "Oh, you have to thank Sana, you have to thank the Radio Gold listeners," you know. But it's good. It's good. It's good. God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you. Wish you all the best. Our prayers are with you and your constituents.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's the Honorable Member of Parliament for North Tongu speaking to us. And of course, a big thank you to our listeners. They've done some fantastic